Welcome back, dear friends, to Turkish series Stars, the corner of the internet where stories aren't just reported, they're felt, probed, and given room to breathe in all their complicated humanity. Before we step into today's winding maze of emotion, make sure you're subscribed, drop a like, and, if you want to help keep this warm community glowing, consider joining as a member so we can keep crafting deep dive narratives just like this one. Today's tale is not a quick headline or a passing whisper. It's a collision between memory and growth, between ache and reason, between two hearts that once recognized each other in the dark and now stand divided by a quiet, measured distance built from old pain. Within these fragile borders of silence and confession are Barış Baktaş and Yagmar Yüksel, two names that once moved in rhythm and now orbit separately, as if unsure whether to drift apart or return to a familiar gravity. Their story resurfaces with an intensity that neither seemed prepared to carry again. It began on a glittering night in Istanbul. Flashbulbs sparked like stars, a ruby carpet flowed under the lights, and Barış, usually steady, disciplined, almost impossible to read, let slip a sentence that reopened a chapter many thought was closed for good. With a voice that wavered beneath the polished public mask, he offered a confession that seemed to surprise even himself. He didn't plead, he didn't grandstand, but there was no mistaking the tenderness as he admitted there were still unsaid words, and that the center of his feelings had never truly moved on from her. Vulnerability from him was not what anyone expected that night. Certainly not about her, the woman whose absence had become its own headline without ever needing to be spoken aloud. The ripple was instant. Social feeds flared with speculation. Admirers, bloggers, critics. Everyone treated his honesty as smoke from a rekindled fire. The question that hovered was unmistakable: was their story done, or had we all misread the ending? The response arrived on a different stage entirely, a digital interview captured in muted tones, where Yagmar, poised yet unflinchingly certain, offered a truth that didn't deny him and didn't embrace him either. Instead, she reframed everything. She spoke of a compass that no longer spun toward impulse. She said that her choices now came from her head, not from a heart that had once led her into rooms where the lights turned off too soon. The interview felt less like Q&A and more like a quiet diary being read aloud at last. She admitted that Barış had once held unimaginable importance in her life. But she also revealed the shadows, the tears no one saw, the pauses that grew heavy like winter, the long stretches where she learned to choose herself even when it stung. She shared how she waited for messages, for gestures, for proofs that never arrived in time. When nothing comes, she said, you teach yourself how to live without waiting. There was no anger in her voice, only the clarity of someone who has rebuilt herself piece by piece. She now knew exactly what she deserved. Those words hit the internet like thunder. Within minutes, lines from the interview cascaded across timelines. Some called her strength radiant. Others accused fate of cruelty for keeping two hearts so clearly connected yet so painfully misaligned. And then came Barış's reply, short, delicate, but piercing in its earnestness. If she planned to choose with logic, he said, he would keep choosing with feeling. In that contrast was an entire world of longing. And yet it was also an admission: they now existed in different emotional climates, each shaped by scars only they fully understood. People around them say the former couple still trades occasional messages, though they haven't met in person since parting ways. It's hard to erase a shared language, a mutual friend observed. But there are wounds that don't close just because someone whispers something tender. Perhaps that is the thread weaving through this, unhealed softness stitched together with hurt still learning how to quiet itself. Complicating it all was an unexpected twist. The rumor that Yagmar's new television project would shoot near the location where Barış is currently working. The mere possibility of their paths crossing again fanned the flames of curiosity. Neither has addressed the speculation, but the silence itself turned into its own storyline. As her interview drew to a close, Yagmar offered what might be her clearest truth yet: she wouldn't relive a story that taught her to suffer quietly. If she were to love again, she wanted it to rise from calm, not anxiety. her followers felt the shockwave. Many have watched her ascend, stagger, and steady herself again. Some remembered the moments she and Barış once shared, now preserved in the collective memory like pressed petals in an old book. But the focus, she insisted, wasn't nostalgia. It was transformation. At one point, with a calm but unshakable tone, she explained that she never asked for bouquets or grand vows. She asked for presence, real presence, the kind that lingers when the applause fades and the cameras are boxed away. That line alone soared across social networks, raised like a banner by thousands who recognized their own reflection in her honesty. Yet even in her resolve, she didn't cut the thread completely. She confessed that she forgave many things in silence, transgressions he might never know had stung. She wasn't returning to the past, but she did not deny how deeply she had loved him. Those watching swore her eyes glistened just for a heartbeat, proof that strength doesn't erase feeling, it rearranges it into something livable. Meanwhile, Barış stepped back from the spotlight. Rumors swirled that he asked for a private conversation with her, though neither side confirmed it. On set, coworkers described a man absorbed in his thoughts, the silence around him somehow heavier than before. "He's quieter than we've ever seen him," one team member confided. "He moves like someone hoping to rewrite a last page." On the other side, Yagmar reportedly began emotional coaching sessions as preparation for her new role. But her team insists this is more than performance, it's an act of self-preservation. She wants strength in her craft, and strength as a woman navigating her healing on her own terms. Fans, split as ever, kept debating. Some argued that love like theirs doesn't vanish, it waits at the threshold. Others insisted that boundaries must be honored, that stepping back now would undo everything she fought to build. One comment cut through the noise with sharp simplicity: no means no, even when love lingers in the room. Then came the spark that stirred the embers once more. 2 nights ago, Yagmar shared a brief Instagram story featuring Kenan Doğulu's nostalgic track Sana Bir Sevgisiyim. No caption. No symbol. Just the music. The lyrics did the talking: Gel yanıma. Sana bir sevgisiyim. Come closer. I want to tell you a secret. The internet erupted. Was it about him? About herself? About the memory they both keep tucked away? Hours later, Barış posted a black and white shot of a sun dissolving into the sea. His caption was a whisper of a thought: sometimes quiet says what words can't. 2 posts, separate yet strangely braided together. Fans concluded what perhaps even they won't admit: the conversation continues, even if it now travels through echoes. Professionally, both keep moving forward. He prepares for the premiere of his new series, a project he's poured long days and restless nights into. She readies for an international gala in Madrid, where she'll be recognized for her rising influence and the way she carries herself through both triumph and storm. The press wonders what she will wear, whether she'll walk alone, and whether she'll send another unspoken message the world will spend hours decoding. At the end of her viral interview, Yagmar sealed her truth with a simple line that hid nothing: she had found her calm, and guarding it was now her priority. Later, in a final message to his followers, Barış offered a sentence that sounded like a sigh caught between acceptance and hope: some stories don't repeat, but they never quite leave us. And maybe that's where we leave them tonight, 2 souls no longer bound, yet still outlining each other in ways they may never fully understand. Before we close, beloved viewers, tell us in the comments, do you think their story is over, or paused in a quiet place only they can access? Would you want to see them side by side on our Turkish series Stars couch one day, sharing their truths with you directly? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and, if you want to keep this channel glowing, consider joining as a member. This has been Turkish series Stars, and we'll meet again in the next story brave enough to reveal the fragile, fearless human heart. And yet, even as we sign off, there's one more pulse under the surface. People close to both say time has reshaped their memories into something softer, less jagged at the edges. He has learned how silence can bruise, and she has learned how tenderness can survive without returning to its origin. Some nights, the whispers say, he stands by the Bosphorus after filming, not to send words into the wind, but to listen for the ones that never came back. And some mornings, she lingers over coffee after training, practicing lines that ask for presence and steadiness, because art and life often borrow from each other when no one is watching. If their paths cross again, on a set, at an award stage, in a corridor echoing with footfalls and low murmurs, don't expect fanfare. Expect a stillness, a quiet recognition that two people can carry the same story from different ends of a page. Expect a nod, perhaps a half-smile that says thank you for the beginning, and thank you for letting me go before the ending swallowed us whole. Expect adulthood, with its careful hands and reluctant grace. Expect two people who know how loud a single second can be when everything that matters has already been said. Or left unsaid. The cameras will keep hunting. The blogs will keep questioning. The fans will keep hoping and defending and arguing, because love teaches all of us in different languages. But the final draft belongs to them. It always did. Whether they write it together or tuck it into separate journals, the same ink runs through both versions, a line about a first glance that felt like a promise, a line about learning how to breathe alone, a line about how sometimes love's truest proof is knowing when to stop retracing the same steps. In time, the noise will lower, and only the essentials will remain, the truth of what they shared and the choice each made to protect what came after. Until then, we'll be here, listening with care rather than hunger, holding space for the contradictions that make them human, and telling the story with the respect their vulnerability deserves. Because no matter where they go next, Barış Baktaş and Yagmar Yüksel have already given us something lasting. A reminder that courage is not only an entrance, sometimes it's an exit. Sometimes it's a steady voice saying, I want peace more than I want possession. Sometimes it's a soft confession against a hard night sky, admitting that the heart keeps a light on even when the door is closed. We're watching, gently. And when the next page turns, whether it's a premiere, a gala moment under Madrid satin lights, or a silent crossing on a shared street, we'll be here to tell you what the cameras caught and what the hush between them tried to say. Until then, be kind in the comments, hold room for complexity, and don't forget, stories like these aren't about winning. They're about becoming. This is Turkish Series Stars, thanking you for being with us, and promising to meet you again where honesty and hope touch without bruising.